Just 1 second. Okay, DeFu, you got it, my man.
All right, thank you, thank you. And can I share my screen?
Oh yeah, sorry, I'll do that right now.
Oh, no worries, no worries.
Okay, you got it, my brother.
All right, here we go. All right, and can everybody see my screen? Can I get a quick thumbs up? Oh, thank you. I appreciate it.
Nice picture. We see it.
All right. So first and foremost, my name is Dafu Goodman. I am the high school and EAP coordinator here at California State University, Dominguez Hills. I like to say we are the best CSU. Now, if you went to another CSU, for you, that was probably the best CSU, but this is the best CSU for anybody. I'm just gonna let you know that for right now. But number one, though, as long as your children and yourself get an education, that is number one. And then, jokingly, I'm definitely gonna say we the number one. But number one is that your children and yourselves get educated. So I am here to answer any questions you may have about the CSU, Dominguez Hills, or college in general. I fully believe in college access and fully believe in that every student has a right to get an education and should be educated. Just a brief history about me. Born and raised in California, I got my bachelor's degree in sociology from Grambling State University in Louisiana. Moved back home to California, got my master's in education at Cal Poly Pomona, worked at Cal Poly for quite a few years, and now I'm at Dominguez Hills. And I've been here for almost 5 years. Ooh, all right, yeah, got to shake that one off a little bit. But yeah, almost here for 5 years. So feel free to ask me any questions. I want to make sure you feel supported when talking to your children, when talking to others about making informed decisions about schooling and where they should go to school based on your specific child. All right, so let's jump into it. I know you're gonna have a lot of questions about admissions requirements, about services we're gonna offer. And so at any point in time, if you want to interrupt me, feel free to go ahead and do so, or you could throw your information into the chat as well. I'm okay with either way. Dominguez Hills, located in the city of Carson. Like I said earlier, probably the best CSU nobody's really talking about, or they are talking about it and then they already know they're applying, so which I love to hear. But the biggest thing I really want to focus on, everyone wants to focus on economic diversity, being ranked number 4, or we graduate some of the most teachers in the state of California. When it comes to graduating teachers among Western universities, we rank number 10. But my favorite and the one I believe is most important is that in Western schools, in the Western part of the United States, we graduate students with the least amount of debt. We're ranked number 8. So we're, out of all the schools on the West Coast, we rank number 8. So we do not want to graduate students with debt. 82% of our students last year received free forms of free money to pay for college. Free money as seen as grants and scholarships. We do not want students graduating with loans. I got enough loans for everybody in here and probably everybody on YouTube watching this right now to pay for college. I got all the loans. So if y'all want to donate some to my loan paying off, I got you. I'll send you my Cash App, my Venmo. We can work on this together. But the idea is, and the hopes is that your children graduate from college with the least amount of debt as possible. Now, if your child has to come out with $2,000 worth of debt, that's not bad. We can pay that off in a year with one job. But the goal is to have 0. That is the goal. Over COVID, we were blessed with the opportunity to build 3 new buildings. Our new housing building, our innovation instruction building, fancy title just to say our College of Business, and then our science and innovation building, which is really going to be for our STEM and science related fields. All these 3 buildings provide open space for students to freely engage with one another. We took more of an open concept. Old school mentality of some of our older buildings is that we isolate and shut off everything. But now we want to be a little bit more open so students can view what other students are doing, especially when it comes to like our 3D lab in the science and innovation building. Seeing things happen may inspire somebody else. It's like, oh, I thought I wanted to be in liberal studies or psychology, but I'm seeing these 3D labs and it's really inspiring me to do something in the STEM field. We want to allow that opportunity where it's no real engagement with the individual person, it's indirect. So we want to allow that to happen. This will also happen in our new housing. We have a beautiful new housing. We have a game room. We have kitchen area for students to cook. Our next phase for housing will be building a cafeteria for students. So that's always a great thing. But really focusing on housing and students living in a community, whether it's a college-based community. So if they're in the College of Business, they have a roommate that's possibly in the College of Business. So it could help them figure out what they want to do with their career. Are there other avenues that they can take to achieve what they want to achieve? So if they want to go into real estate, what are their options? If they want to be an accountant and their friend wants to be in entrepreneurship, how can they either build together or diversify their portfolio, so to speak, so that they could be more appealing to internships and to jobs once they graduate? So these are some of the things that we are doing differently than we have done previously, allowing our students to grow in a variety of different ways. And we want to support our students from the time that they're thinking about applying all the way through graduation, finding a job, even alumni. We will always support our students. We just got to make sure they stay connected. And one thing that you'll hear me say, hopefully throughout the presentation, and I hope I don't forget to keep saying it, is that a closed mouth doesn't get fed. The only thing that we want students to do is to reach out to us if they need help, or if they even want to talk and they don't even know they need help. If they don't know where to go, tell them to reach out to me. Let me help them figure out where they need to go. Who's the best contact for them? Because we don't want our students to suffer in silence. Far too long have we suffered as people in silence. We just said like, oh, I'll figure it out. I can do this by myself. We got to stop doing that and ask for help because we're going to be continuously behind the 8 ball if we keep doing that. And that's one thing that we don't want to do anymore. And so we want to encourage students to reach out to us to make informed decisions. And that's one of the reasons why we firmly believe that choosing a college based on informed decision-making is truly going to be the best option for our students. And also making sure that they feel supported on our campus. Now, we want to do all that, but we got to make sure that we know the requirements to get into university. Okay. Now, you're going to hear a lot about the A through G requirements. So I'm pretty sure that you already know that, like the back of your hand. You have 2 years of history. You got 4 years of English. We recommend 4 years of math, but the requirement is only 3 years of math. We really want to push 4. Sciences, we want 2 years. Language other than English, 2 years in the same subject. Visual performing arts, we want 1 year, ideally in the same discipline. And then 1 year of college elective, which is just an additional year of the requirements of anything A through F. But the most important thing when we're looking at these, because most high schools will have those completed by the time they graduate, because the graduation requirements are the same as A through G in most cases. But we want to make sure our students are passing with a minimum of C or better. But I encourage parents, I encourage family members to push their children a little bit more to shoot for those A's and B's. This can help them with the admissions part, but also later on, it's really going to help them with scholarships, different forms of free money. Okay. So the requirement is that A through G requirements must be completed with a C or better. For schools, because of COVID, during the academic year of spring 2020 to summer 2021, if they were only giving out credit and passes for classes, as long as the student received a P for pass or a CR for credit, we will accept that as meeting the A through G requirements. Now, they will not be considered in the GPA because we can't really give a value to a credit or a pass, but we will say that satisfy the A through G requirements and as well as the validation requirements as well. But we really want to focus on C's or better and really A's and B's in A through G requirements. The next requirement we're all looking for is that students graduate from high school, which is something that we never really have to think about, but it's something important to know. Students have to graduate from high school for this access. And then SAT, ACT, the CSU system is test blind this year. We are not considering the SAT or the ACT for admissions purposes. We will use them for what we call placement into English and math courses for their first semester. So if your child does take it, we will consider it for placement in English and math courses only and not for admissions. Okay. And then, yes, I will talk about the scholarships in just a moment. So thank you. I'm gonna keep that on my radar, and I definitely will mention that. And I think I did miss one about dorms. Oh, no, talking about alumni here. So the next one, which is probably the most important one and probably the slightly most confusing one as well. So we're gonna jump straight into it, the GPA requirement. So this, the CSU has a minimum GPA of a 2.5 GPA to make sure that students are CSU eligible. So for Dominguez Hills, I'm gonna try to break it down as simple as possible and make it straightforward. If a student has the A through G requirements, passed the C or better, if they graduated from high school, they applied to Dominguez Hills, and their GPA is a 2.5 GPA or higher, those four things, we will admit them. For Dominguez Hills, I'm gonna reset that again. For Dominguez Hills, we're a non-impacted campus, so we're looking for A through G requirements. They graduate from high school, applied to Dominguez Hills, and have a 2.5 GPA or higher, we will admit them to the university. Now, keep in mind, they will still have to meet all the other enrollment deadlines and the admission deadlines. Submitting the intent to enroll, which lets us know that they want to attend for the fall. Registering for orientation, which is mandatory for all students. That's how they register for classes and get acclimated to the university. And there's also the final transcripts, which show that the student graduated from high school and that they passed all the remaining classes. So those are things that they would still have to do after being admitted. And there are various deadlines for that. So that is something to keep into consideration. Now, I don't know if you have any children or there's any students in here that were like me as a student, were slightly difficult. More than slightly difficult, we were really difficult, and your GPA is between a 2.0 and a 2.49. We still want you to apply. We have something that's called a multi-factor admissions process, also known as MFA, multi-factor admissions. We will look at students with a 2.0 to a 2.49, and then we're going to look at additional requirements or additional supplemented factors. Like, did the student take additional A through G requirements? So above the minimum. What is the household income? Was this a contributing factor to why their GPA was like this? Like, did the student have a job? Were they forced to work 15 hours a week, 20 hours a week? Because that also takes away from their performance in school. Sleep deprivation, food insecurities, just being mentally in different spaces. We understand that takes away from the academics, especially when it comes to GPA. Not saying the student isn't smart, saying that they were just had multiple things going on, which took away from their performance during testing or being able to submit all the requirements, which would affect their GPA. We're also looking at where students involved, clubs, organizations in their community, in their church, were they giving back? What were they doing for their community and for their high school? So we're looking at all those factors, and then admissions will look at everything and then make a decision. Now, you may be thinking like, look, y'all ain't really gonna look at it. Y'all probably not just gonna say that and be like, yeah, we tried, but no. Last year, we admitted 200 and roughly 40, I think it was 235, but almost 240 students we admitted off of this multi-factor admissions process. Okay, so there is a pathway. There is a way for us to really look at the student and figure out what was going on. Because we know the students are smart. We know that they have the capabilities of succeeding at the university. But we wanted to see what was going on so we can make this decision to help the student out and make sure that they had the support they needed once they were here at Dominguez Hills. Okay. So students with a 2.0 to a 2.49, they still need the A through G requirements. They still need to graduate from high school. We'd just be looking at additional factors to see if we're able to admit them. And we do really consider these students. Where I'm not just saying it just to say it to get more applications. That's not how I work. We want to make sure that we give students the opportunity to be successful. Okay. All right, do we have any questions about the requirements right now? I'm gonna take a quick break, talk about the requirements. Does anybody have any questions, any concerns? Okay. And then note that the multi-factor admissions process will change from CSU to CSU. So these are Dominguez Hills. So if you look at Long Beach, theirs will be different as well. Okay, I want to point that out because I don't want y'all to be mad at me. Well, Dominguez Hills said the multi-factor admissions process, all CSU's using it, but
Hey, Dafu.
Long Beach is doing something different.
Hey, Dafu,
Yes.
I'm really glad you brought that up. I've written that down as a comment to make at the end. I want you to
Okay.
get home alive tomorrow, man.
Please come on.
Okay.
Look, I don't want Sister Karen to come after me and be like, look, my child was trying to go to LA and Dominguez and got denied from both because you said. Mm-mm. So it's important just to know that each school will handle multi-factor admissions process very differently. All right, so let's talk about the important deadlines and let's talk a little bit about the money. So I saw a question here talking about money and scholarships. So first, we're going to talk about the admissions filing period. Every single CSU, all 23 campuses, use the same application, but when you are looking at the application and submitting the application, you need to make sure you select every single school you want to apply to. So if you want to apply to Dominguez Hills, Long Beach, LA, and Northridge, that's not a problem. Make sure you select a major for each one of those, and you'll see in the Add Program section that you're able to select by the campus. And then the other thing to note is this is the first year that we have different deadlines. So we all opened up October 1st, so we're all currently open right now. Impacted campuses like Cal State Long Beach and Cal State LA, where every single major, regardless of what it is impacted, will close their applications on November 30th. But Dominguez Hills, we're going to stay open till December 15th because we're not impacted. Now, there are campuses like Northridge where some programs are impacted, but not all programs. So if your child is interested in history, that is a non-impacted program, but accounting may be impacted at Northridge. So accounting will close November 30th, but that history will stay open until December 15th. So it's the first year that we've ever done this. So it may be complicated. So I highly recommend getting all applications in by November 15th. The reason why I say November 15th, it's before Thanksgiving. We eat too much turkey, fried turkey, whatever you may have. If you have fried turkey, please send me an email. I'm coming by. I love fried turkey. But I would recommend doing it by November 15th because we could get in front of all the holidays and we can ensure if we have students, our children, like myself, are procrastinators, we'll get it done before the deadline. Okay? Now, I know parents in here are not going to let their children do that, but just in case, I always say the deadline is November 15th for procrastinating students. It gives us enough wiggle room. So if they do panic on November 15th, we got plenty of time to submit it. Now, let's talk a little bit about the financial aid. The FAFSA is federal money. The California Dream Act is state money. I want to point those two out because you only fill out one. If your child or you are a U.S. citizen, I want you to fill out the federal aid, the FAFSA. If you are undocumented, I want you to fill out the California Dream Act and only the California Dream Act because that is state aid. Both of these applications will let us know how much money we're able to give you in free money, in grants. Grants, free money, you never have to pay back. Loans, they freely give it out, but you always have to pay those back plus interest. Okay. So like I said, Dominguez Hills, we want to focus on the free money, not the loans. So both the FAFSA and the California Dream Act let us know exactly how much money we're able to give you in grants. The closer it is to a zero, the expected family contribution is zero, EFC is zero, the more money you're eligible to receive. Now, if you are in an EFC of 1,000, you still could receive some money, but the closer to zero you are, the more money you will receive. So this is the one time you're going to take a test and get a zero. Okay. So that will show you that if there's a greater need, we will provide more money. The state will find money to provide you, whether it's a Cal grant, A or B, the state university grant, or the federal Pell Grant. And that's for federal Pell Grant is only for FAFSA. For the California Dream Act, it would be the Cal Grant or the State University Grant. Okay. Both of these deadlines, priority deadlines, are going to be March 2nd. The reason why I'm going to emphasize priority is because students that meet the March 2nd deadline will receive their aid before somebody that files on March 3rd. It's a deadline to ensure that we're able to process all the documents before you even have to go to school. March 2nd is not the hardcore deadline, it's the priority deadline. I would honestly recommend just filling out the financial aid application as soon as you're done with the CSU application and adding every single school that you apply to. I believe the limit to apply to put on one list at a time is 10. Now, if you decide you don't want to go to a specific school, you can always take that school off and add another school. The most important thing is that you submit the application on March 2nd, before March 2nd. You can add schools after that, but you need to make sure that the application is done by March 2nd. I see a question here. All right, so let's talk about scholarships. So scholarships, once a student is admitted to university, they're able to apply for all the scholarships we have. I highly recommend applying for the presidential scholarship. Students that have a 3.5 or higher qualify to apply for this scholarship. We give about 10 to 13 each year. It depends on how many students who graduate the previous year. But they pay for everything except for housing. So they pay for tuition and fees, which come out to about $7,000 a year. They'll pay for the parking permit, which is, if I'm not mistaken, $120 or $130 a year, a semester. They'll also buy these students a laptop. So they will support these students every which way possible. They also get priority registration, which means they get to register for everybody before everybody at the university. Okay, so it's important. Oh, sorry about that. Priority registration is really big. They get to register for classes before everybody. So I highly recommend they apply for the presidential scholarship if their GPA is above a 2.5 GPA or 3.5 GPA or higher. We also have our honor scholarship, which pays for tuition. That's something I recommend that students apply to as well, even if they're applying for the presidential. Now, keep in mind, if they apply for presidential and they get that scholarship, they will not qualify for any other ones, even if they apply for it, okay? Because they're already getting everything paid for. And we want to spread the love as much as we can in giving out free tuition. But there's hundreds of scholarships students could apply to. There's one of my favorite ones. It's only for incoming students. It's called Future Scholars Program. That's for incoming transfer and incoming first year students. So I'd recommend that students do apply for that. And then, did I cover everything? I also want to talk about a little bit about EOP, Educational Opportunity Program. We do have an EOP for our first year students on our campus. They could apply for EOP in the CSU application. So under the supporting documents tab, there will be an Educational Opportunity Program application that they're able to fill out. I would highly recommend that they do that. EOP is for first generation low income students, really trying to level out the playing field for them once they're at the university. They will receive some financial aid assistance, some financial assistance, and that will vary from year to year. They'll also receive a peer mentor that will help guide them through the university and make sure that they're fully supported. They also get an academic advisor to make sure they're in the correct courses. And then they also have a social component as well. In addition to the peer mentorship, they do go on retreats and they do focus on make sure students feel comfortable and acclimated to university. And now I do see a couple more questions, a couple about the admissions requirements. What is the index minimum for a local student? Karen, great question. For Dominguez Hills, we're not using an index. Other CSUs are using an index, but Dominguez Hills is not. So it's going to go back to the 2.5 GPA or higher, A through G requirements, graduate, and then apply to Dominguez, those four, and we're able to admit them. We put a lot more weight on the GPA this year until we get to below a 2.5. Then we look at the multi-factor admissions process. Karen, thank you for that question. And we also have, what if a student doesn't participate in clubs and organizations? Not a problem. Not a problem. So that's a great question. So if a student doesn't, and they're part of the multi-factor admissions process, we can look at those additional A through G requirements as another factor. We also look at the household income. So some that the student doesn't necessarily have to do. It's just some that that's their society, that's their home life, that's their environment, things that we're able to look at. So we'll take that in consideration if the student doesn't participate in academics at school. Get them involved in the church community. That's fine. We take that in consideration. That is their community. They're giving back in different ways. So that's something that they can definitely do. And if they have any leadership roles in club, athletic, sports, or something like that, we consider that as well. So we're allowed to put that into the application as well. But we look at every single student between a 2.0 and 2.49 very closely. Like I said, we admitted almost 240 students last year based off this process. So we really do take a look at them. Insight into the cost of housing. Ooh, this one's a touchy subject. So I can't give you exact cost. I know it's the one question you really wanted. I know. The reason why we couldn't, and let me just start with this. We adjusted our costs because of COVID, because we could only have 2 students max in a room. So the cost adjusted to reflect that. So I do not have exact costs, but I could tell you, and it's a wide range, and I do apologize for this, anywhere between $8,000 to $11,000 a year. Which is a wide range, but that's gonna be the range that I feel comfortable in saying those numbers. And so that would be between students being 4 in a room to 3 or even 2, depending on the room that they select. We also have our traditional apartments that we have. Some students call it our older housing, but it's our apartment style living. And there is about between 3 and 4 students per room in there as well. And then those are a little bit more cost efficient, which could range between 8 and 9,000, maybe a little bit higher to 10. Let's be comfortable with 10, 8 to 10,000 a year. Okay. But once students are admitted to university, they can apply for housing after they submit their intent to enroll. And when a student applies to Dominguez Hills, they get a lot of emails from us, and we easily walk them through all that. All right, somebody said, go back to financial aid. I got you, family. So our scholarships offered through FAFSA, not for Dominguez Hills. Some universities are able to award a student based on their FAFSA, but Dominguez Hills were not. They would have to apply for scholarships after they're admitted through their student portal. There's a tab that says scholarships that they're able to apply for as soon as they're admitted. Now, there are a lot of third-party vendors, a lot of third-party scholarships that I highly recommend students start applying to. Banks, churches, even some jobs. So your job may offer a scholarship. I would highly recommend asking your manager or your HR department to see if your job offers a scholarship for your students. I always recommend banks. Small credit unions offer scholarships as well. And obviously the big ones is, well, like JP Morgan Chase, Wells Fargo, they always offer scholarships. NCAA offers scholarships. Fastweb.com, they offer scholarships as well. And I said fast web. So fast as in running fast, web as in the website. So Fastweb, they offer a lot of scholarships. Qualifications for the honor scholarship, it's really looking at the GPA for honor scholarship. Focusing heavily on the GPA above a 3.0 puts you in the running for the honor scholarship. But last year, when I looked at the application pool and the students that got it, it was roughly a 3.2 or higher that received that scholarship. Merit-based scholarships. So we do have a lot of merit-based scholarships, and there's a variety of options. We do have one, we call it digital media arts, focusing on students that want to go into audio engineering or film, television, and production. We have scholarships just for that major. We have some just for STEM, some just for biology. And so we really want students, once they apply to Dominguez Hills and they're admitted, I'm gonna speak that into existence, that your children will be admitted. I'm gonna speak that into existence because I want that to happen. So when they are admitted, the day that they're admitted, the following day, their portal will be active for them to start applying for scholarships. And that is when I want them to apply. Day one, when they find out they're admitted. And they can look through all the scholarships and see which one fits them the best and which ones they want to apply. And to be quite honest, I want them to apply for every single scholarship, whether they identify with it or not. Just go ahead and apply for it. There's so many scholarships out here that students don't apply for. There's just money sitting in the bank, collecting interest. Nobody's applying for it. So please apply for scholarships. And yes, presidential scholarship is about a 3.5 GPA or higher. And that's actually open to first year and transfer students. So we have a lot of scholarships. Got it. Oh, great question. So what if your child gets the presidential scholarship, but they want to live on campus? How do you pay for housing? The great thing is that you could still receive one of our grants, some of our grants to pay for or to contribute towards housing. If I'm not mistaken, it's the Cal grant that can contribute towards housing because it's not just a fee bearing fee. It doesn't just pay your fees, your tuition. So we will walk your student through that process as soon as they accept the presidential scholarship if they're awarded it. We'll let them know all their financial aid options to let them know what their best option may be. And I'm not gonna lie to you, it's accepting the presidential scholarship in every single case. And then in some cases, if they do want to live on campus, we do encourage them to work on campus as well. There are some positions called RA, residential assistant positions, where they will, in a form of payment, pay for housing. So the housing isn't free, they're working for housing, and they get a stipend so they can have some money in their pocket as well. So that's one thing I would recommend, and we will definitely walk you or your child through that once that time comes. You are asking great questions. I appreciate it. Oh, yes. Also check your high school, your local high school for scholarships. Your city also offers scholarships as well. When speaking about the GPA requirement, is it weighted or unweighted? To be safe, go with unweighted. We will consider the weighted grade at the end of the day. But if your unweighted GPA is above a 2.5 for Dominguez Hills, you know your weighted GPA is significantly higher. Now, we're going to use your weighted GPA for the scholarship determination. Okay. Now, once again, if your unweighted is a 3.7, you know your weighted is higher. So when in doubt, go with unweighted when looking at the requirements and the qualifications, but no, we're taking the weighted. Okay. That is a great question. So thank you for asking that question. And we're going to keep going, but feel free to keep asking questions, and I don't mind going back. Like I said earlier, we want to make sure that your children and you feel supported once we're at the university. We have a variety of different services. We have our Rose Black Resource Center. We have our Male Success Alliance, both of which focus on men and women of color. Male Success Alliance focusing more on the men of color. Make sure that we have equal opportunity at the university, access to a quality education, and making sure ultimately we have a place that we can call home, or also known as a safe space, a place where they can freely be themselves. That is important because we see that when students are comfortable on a campus and feel like their campus is a place of home, of safety, that they're inclined to do better academically. And then these two resources specifically I'm gonna talk about, the Male Success Alliance, Rose Black Resource Center, they really focus on getting students academically comfortable, but also socially comfortable, getting them involved in clubs and organizations. And they do push students towards the Office of Student Life, which oversees all our clubs, organizations, our sororities and fraternities. We want them to be involved. We want them to have a wealth of knowledge about what happens and be able to make mistakes in a variety of fields without having it too big of a cost to them. Because once you leave college and you jump into the real world where you got to start paying your bills, if you mess up, you have real consequences. At Dominguez Hills, at the university, you'll have real consequences, but they're not as permanent. So we have students that, to be honest, they go through academic dishonesty. They may have cheated or plagiarized. We walk them through like how not to do this again. Because later on in life, you steal somebody else's product, that's a lawsuit. That's something that could be detrimental to your career. So we walk them through like, hey, we understand you're going to make a mistake, but we want to make sure that you do this properly next time. So we have a variety of things put in place to support students. Another great support for students that every single first-year student will have access to automatically, and they don't have to apply to it, is our Dominguez Hills first-year experience. They'll be assigned an academic advisor, a peer mentor, and this is a great way for them to know what their resources are on campus, as well as how they can access all these resources. Okay. So we have a variety of different things here, and I want to make sure I save a little bit of time at the end. So if you have any more questions, I know I'm getting close to my time. But I want to make sure that you know that there are supports here on campus. And if your child has no idea where to go, they blanked out during orientation, they forgot the contact information, they can always reach out to me. And I'll be more than willing to point them in the right direction. Like I said, I want to make sure that they know that they have somewhere to go. A closed mouth doesn't get fed. I just need them to let me know so I can help. Then lastly, before we end, we do have a variety of ways students can get in contact with us. We have virtual visits, and we just launched this week some in-person campus tours, so students are able to come to campus. We're limiting it to 10 for the campus tour, only because we want to make sure we could have everybody safe, wearing masks, and to do social distancing. And I apologize if you hear my dog in the background. She's excited right now. So we have a variety of options. We offer housing tours as well. So feel free to let us know if you want to access any of these resources, because we're more than willing to assist you. And like I said, I'm going to provide you my contact information. Just in case you missed my name at the beginning, my name is Dominguez Goodman. Here's my email address. This is my work cell phone, so you can always call or text me. Whatever is easiest for you and your student. The important thing is that you have something that you can access at all times, or in reasonable times. What are you most proud of about CSUDH? Myself, I'm gonna toot my own horn. No, I'm joking with y'all. I'm not gonna be like that. No, the most thing I'm really proud about Dominguez Hills is our access. Many times you hear about my child applied to 17 different schools and they couldn't get in nowhere.
Right.
We pride ourselves on college access and educating students of color, students that look like me. I have to say that because that is important to me. Students that look like me, that identify as I do, and other students, underrepresented students. We have a home that we can call in Dominguez Hills. As long as we speak up and say like, hey, I need help, we're more than willing to help you. But I'm proud of Dominguez Hills. I'm proud to say I work here because we love supporting our students. Why is Dominguez Hills best in my decision, in my opinion? Because I work here. No, I'm joking again. We're best because we support students. We want to be where the students are at. If a student is struggling at 7 o'clock at night, if they send me an email, and if I see it in time, I would definitely jump on Zoom and work with that student. You'll see that across a variety of different departments across campus. Faculty, staff willing to support your child where they are at. And whatever they need, we're gonna do everything we can to support them. But we just have to know. That is why I think Dominguez Hills is the best. And I do acknowledge that there are other great CSUs out there, okay? But I'm gonna be biased today and say Dominguez Hills is the best one.
Okay.
All right, does anybody have any questions?
I think they've been asking all along, and
Oh yeah, great questions.
you answered all mine. I certainly appreciate you. While they're thinking about it, I want to say also, Dominguez, I've had some really good students start great careers from Dominguez. They've done very well. I don't have any problems in that regard at all with Dominguez Hills. So it's a great consideration for a local CSU. Again, if you feel connected to LA as a student, I don't want you to feel ashamed because you always wanted to go away. If you see a school that clicks with you, that's connected with LA, I would say Dominguez is one of the top ones doing that. You feel like you're connecting and you're keeping your family around you, and your professors are going to be really interested in you. So I really think that that's, to me, if you ask, nobody asked me, but that's a strength to me as I look at the CSUs, look at Dominguez Hills today. All right, see if anyone, no other questions. All right. We appreciate you, Defu. What I'll do, I'm doing something this year too, a little different. And that's when students are admitted, I'm going to have some springtime opportunities for them to connect with you if they're leaning that way. And I don't even care how many ever it is, I'm going to push them in there if they've been admitted. We keep close track of that. I also want to say, if you're looking to do your CSU application, get some support from us. We can help you. CSU Central has designated us every year as a key point for that in LA among Black churches. I know Sister Karen knows that. She brings students to me. We'll be glad to help students with their CSU application, okay? And I think some of you know already, I'm already working on a couple of y'all here today. I'll be doing your CSU application, working with you on it, of course. All right. Okay. Thank you, Defu. I
Thank
certainly
you.
appreciate you, man. I'm thanking, I give all credit to Quinn here too. Good job, Quinn, arranging this session.
Yeah, so glad you guys can all come today. There's some great questions in the chat. This
Really
was a
good.
great college night again. Thank you, Defu, for coming.
Yeah.
Thank you. And if you need anything,
Thank you.
please let me
Thank
know.
you.
We sure
And
will.
Deacon,
Definitely.
Deacon, this Alberta.
Hey,
I had something to say about Cal State Dominguez.
yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so I worked at State Farm
Of course,
as a claims negotiator.
of course.
And at State Farm, we had, doing the same job, people from Yale, USC, UCLA. I'm from LMU and
Right.
Dominguez. We all made the same amount of money.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Hello.
I haven't said that lately.
I'm just
Thank you
saying,
so much. I haven't said that lately.
and between you and me, the people from Dominguez have more sense than the person from Yale. I'm just saying.
You better stop, girl.
I'm just
Hey,
saying.
hey, Sister Alberta.
Yeah, it's me.
Alberta,
Deep-
that's too much truth in one night.
I'm just being real. I'm being real, not just because my husband got his undergraduate degree from Dominguez and I got my master's degree. We worked on a payment plan. You can do a payment plan. Some of these other places want to know how much equity you have in your Lamert house.
Yeah,
And Dominguez has to do a payment plan. I'm just saying.
yeah, you're right. And another thing, thank you, Sister Alberta. I know Sister Karen knows what I'm gonna say now about that, but a lot of you have heard this, but you can go to schools in this very city for 10 times the tuition of Dominguez Hills. And you just have to ask yourself, once you go into debt, that takes away from your retirement, just because you want that name. The question is going to be at the end of the day, do you really think that they're 10 times better than Dominguez? As you heard Sister Alberta, if you stipulate it is 10 times, I mean, is it worth 10 times more? And I think you'll have to agree that the quality of Dominguez Hills and in general CSU, that's an easy question. All right, thank you, Alberta. Thank you, all you guys. I so appreciate you. And thank you for being here. We'll see you in about, I don't think we have a meeting this weekend, but we'll see you real soon. Get a hold of me. I'm getting a lot of calls now. Y'all setting up meetings. It's an exciting time of the year. I love it. I love this time of the year. I'm ready to go. I went away for a couple of days. Nobody knew. I was up in Boston, and I'm coming back. Feel like I can fly off buildings there, Fu.
So
All
you
right,
had
okay.
that lobster, right? That lobster roll.
Oh man, I had lobster roll. You
Yeah.
my wife thought she was making me do it, but it was delicious.
Oh, yeah.
I still taste it.
Oh yeah, no, it was good.
Oh man, it was so good.
Yeah.
Oh, y'all don't know that soft bun and the lobster. Oh, goodness.
You're making
All right,
them
okay.
hungry. Hello.
Yeah.
Thank you all very much. We appreciate you. Sabri, you can call me a little later if you want. All right. Sabri? I think she's out.
Okay.
All right. Justin,
Thank
good to
you. Thank
Justin.
you.
Hey, Justin, good to see you tonight, Justin.
You too.
All
Thank
right.
you.
I think Liam might be out there, my impressions. Liam, are you out there? Maybe Sister Sherry's out there, right?
We're both here.
Cool. Hey, look, I saw that question. They've educated about half of my teachers. I have about 21 that are teaching. They've educated half of them.
Good thing. Okay.
CSU does a good job in general, but half of them have come from Dominguez. Okay, they get a hook you up in 4 years with your credential and all that. All right. Okay, thank you all very much. God bless you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Quick
Have a good
question.
one.
Bye, Deacon.
Oh, what time should I call you? What
Yeah.
would be a good time?
The answer will be yes.
Okay.
You get the memo? Yes.
All right. Thank you so much.
I'm up till 10:30 most nights. Karen, no, I'm crazy.
Yeah.
I'll call you after this meeting then.
Yeah, do that. Just call me. Give me about 15 minutes to finish this Indian food off and call me.
All right. Thank you so much.
All right, bye-bye.
Okay, Deacon, this is Kim. So hopefully I'll get that link and for Milan to start this Saturday.
Yeah,
And
I'm gonna make that happen for you. I already texted Christina, but that's one of the things I'm up to do tonight, okay? I'll
okay,
send you everything you need. I'll send you the video again. Please watch the video. I think it was cleverly done, if I may say.
yeah, I see it. I see it. We'll watch
Yeah,
it.
you learn a lot
um,
from that. You already saw a lot of that, but you may want her to watch. And
No,
then-
no, no, she'll
from
watch it. No,
There's a video for this session.
No. Well,
this
there
past
is.
week.
Go to YouTube, you get that. I'll talk about that in a minute. We're talking
Now,
about AT right now.
Deacon, we have the books from Giselle
Don't
from,
do that. Don't do that.
okay,
Give
so
her a digital book. Give her a digital book that has changed. It's different.
it's different. Okay.
There's some things that are different. And also there's a part of the SAT prep where writing the stuff and seeing it, where your daughter was so copious, I'm sure the answers are in it. Yeah, I mean, your daughter's in the Hall of Fame of SAT prep.
That's funny.
She's
Well,
telling me-
We
and
need
she's
that
telling
book.
and she's telling people in the city that I did it. That girl, I had a lot to work with. Let's just leave it at that.
well, we only took your class and it was it meant so much because it was successful on multiple levels, just intellectually, but also just the whole environment was very positive.
Yeah, she did very well. I was very proud of her.
Yes, we invited you to her
I
going
know.
away party, but
It
I
was
know
the
you're
same
busy.
day
I
as-
know you got a
It's
lot
the
of
same
scholars.
day as 4 other ones. So I went like this. I threw a dart.
I know you're popular. Everybody knows you.
I try to go to certain ones. I try to go as many as I can, but I tell people I have about 200 children every year. Even if you count, and about 30 of them are favorites. What can I do?
Don't tell my son that.
You laughed at me, Sister Williams.
Yep, he thought they think everybody think they're your favorite.
Well, I love Tim. He's a good guy. I enjoy traveling with him. He's a good guy.
Yeah.
I would write him
Yeah.
a recommendation. I'd vouch for him anywhere.
Well, he's doing well. He's giving back his time as a lifeguard a lot in
I know.
addition to school. So
All right, tell him
I'm
to holler
proud.
at me. Give my number. Tell him to holler at me.
I will. I'm coming through to holler at you in a little bit sometime soon.
Do that. Get a hold of me.
Okay.
All right. Okay.
Thank you,
Okay.
Deacon.
Your sister
Uh-huh.
will hook you up.
Bye-bye,
Okay.
everyone.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
bye.
Yes.
Sister Karen, we need to
God
talk
bless.
tomorrow.
Say it again, Deacon
We'll talk
Wilson.
tomorrow for sure.
Okay,
Gotta catch you up on a lot.
okay,
I got a lot of stuff I couldn't say out in the open.
okay,
I'll tell you the inside stuff, okay?
okay.
All right.
Well,
You doing
I'll
all right,
call
huh?
you,
Mhm.
I'll call you tomorrow about 1.
Yeah, text me first.
Okay,
Hey, Deke, what's up?
Okay.
I'll call you right back.
okay. All
All
right,
right. Okay.
bye-bye.